In today's episode, used the union guidelines to outsmart an HR woman. Don't waste our time with unnecessary calls. Okay, I won't bother quitting then. You want to make it harder on yourself? I'll oblige. So let's get started. Used the union guidelines to outsmart an HR woman. When I was a senior in high school, I started working as a cashier at a grocery store. While this was not my first job, it was my first one where I was part of a union and learned about some of the pros and cons of unions, mostly pros like regular raises, breaks, holiday pay, etc. We had a woman there who was basically our human resources person, and we did not get along from even before I worked there. I will call her Sally. I came in for my interview and Sally was not there, and had left work for the day. I remember apologizing and saying, I must have mixed up the days. Is there any way you can find out which is the correct day for my interview? But the manager on duty advised me that I was correct as they had checked the calendar in her office, and she had written it down, and so he, the front-end supervisor, and the other manager who came in to start his shift all interviewed and hired me instead. I later heard from the grapevine that she was working 2 locations and really wanted to be hired full-time at a larger store, which would have been a promotion for her, but instead she was placed full-time at her location only and didn't get promoted, and that her missing my interview was the final nail in the coffin for her, as this was just one of a long list of mistakes she made. She was always making excuses for why I couldn't put in to be transferred to another department when they were hiring people for those departments like bakery or deli, and kept me as cashier even though it was lower pay. Even so, I came back to work there over my winter break for college. I had gone away to college instead of commuting, and also summer break. Here is where my malicious compliance comes in. Our union states that after a waiting period, I believe it was 3 months, we get holiday pay for working Sundays and holidays. It was time and half. We also are entitled to a raise every 6 months, and being away at college is not supposed to affect that, since we joined the union before leaving and come back on our breaks and still owe our dues during those times when are still part of the union, but away at school. I got my first paycheck stub for the summer and noticed I did not get my holiday for working that Sunday nor my raise. I spoke with a coworker who advised me to speak with the store manager. He was one of the ones that interviewed me and always looked after his staff, since we were between union reps at the time. He was a born problem solver and told me right away he can fix the payroll error for me and make sure that I got not only the proper wage from now on, but that I would get the back for the time I should have gotten the raise but didn't. As far as the holiday pay though, that had to be taken care of by Sally since she was in HR, and he suggested we go see if she was free and speak with her. She just spoke to the both of us in a condescending tone about how this was union policy, that I had to start all over again with seniority, and that I had to earn that holiday pay again by being there for 3 months. He pointed out, as did I, that I was getting this holiday before leaving for college, and even over the winter break that I had worked, but she just kept saying to me, it's union policy. My manager calmly tried to negotiate with her and get her to correct, and even stated that other employees had not had to go through this. I finally just raised my hand to silence them both. Okay, so you are saying that I can't get my holiday pay even though I was before I left to go back to college at the end of January, due to union policy, correct? I asked. Yes, she said with a long dramatic sigh that was meant to say, like I have been telling you. I nodded, grinned and stated, but union policy also states that I don't have to work holidays or Sundays, and that I can't be penalized for refusing to do so, correct? My manager grinned at me like he was very proud of me as he saw exactly where this was going. Well, yes, that is true, Sally said, looking a bit nervous. Okay, well then, here is the compromise. Since union policy states that I can't get the holiday pay for working Sundays and holidays for the rest of the summer, I will not work any Sundays or holidays, and per union policy, I am allowed to do this, I said with a shrug. She immediately started laying on the charm about how I am such a great worker, and that they really need me to be there to help out with Sundays and holidays, but I pointed out that they had plenty of other employees who were getting the holiday pay that they count on, and I would be glad to return to working holidays and Sundays once I got my holiday for doing so. My manager commented that he and I needed to change the schedule and casually mentioned how this was going to be hard as he now had to take me off for next Sunday and Monday, as that Monday was Memorial Day, and it was a Thursday, but that the store would just have to make it work if they couldn't find anyone willing to come in. Once she had left for the day, he called me upstairs to his office to help with the schedule since I had to work so many days each week. I walked in to find him and another manager there grinning ear to ear and telling me how proud they were of me for how I handled that situation. On Memorial Day and the 4th of July, I got a call asking if I can come in because they had other people call out sick who were scheduled. I just calmly explained that I was no longer working Sundays or holidays and that Sally could explain why. Before the end of the summer she found a new position and quit, and the new HR person was much nicer. One of the first things she did was make sure I and a few other college students who had similar issues with the holiday got our holiday pay reinstated, and when I requested about a transfer to another department she gladly asked around and had me put in the health and beauty aids department that same week. Don't waste our time with unnecessary calls. Okay, I won't bother quitting then. So when COVID hit in early 2020, I was laid off. I immediately began searching for a new job, and it took months to find one. Application after application, I heard nothing back from job after job. Until I finally heard back from a major fast food company. You've definitely heard of them. It was just a brief message in Indeed. I responded to the message and heard nothing back. It was a minimum wage hell slog job, but I needed the cash. So I called the restaurant. I got an employee on the other line and told them I had heard from a hiring manager and wanted the job. The employee said they'd pass along the message to the boss. A week passed and I heard nothing back on Indeed, so I called again and a fourth time. Each time the result was the same, a lower employee saying they'd pass the message higher up. So I went in myself to talk to the boss. The boss said he had gotten my messages and was planning on calling me back. He pretty much chewed me out for calling so much and for coming in without being invited. He said don't waste our time with unnecessary calls, we'll call you. Despite this, I got the job. 2 weeks had passed at this point, and in that 2 weeks a family member died. I was called away to a small funeral. In the job interview, I let my new boss know I would be gone for a few days right after my training. He okayed this and told me it was fine. I got through the training and went to the funeral. I get back from the funeral and I call the restaurant to ask them when I was on the schedule next. I got a lower employee who said they would ask the boss. Oh no. So after a couple days of waiting, I call again. Then again. Then, I stopped calling and began searching for a new job. I never officially quit, I got my measly paycheck from them, and they have not called me back after 4 months of waiting. Good thing they ghosted me, because a couple of weeks after all this, I hit the jackpot. I now have a from-home sales job. I make more than minimum wage, and on top of that, I make commission. Also, my new boss cares about me and returns my calls. Life is good. I'm glad I took that guy's advice. Had I wasted my time with waiting, I would have missed a good deal. You want to make it harder on yourself? I'll oblige. Customer called in. Names used have been changed for privacy. I'm trying to place an order, and it isn't going through. All my information is correct. I asked him for the last 4 of the card he was using and the name on the card. He told me the last 4 and the name was Kendrick. After reviewing my system, I found the attempts under the name Rick and asked if he is entering Rick. He said no. So I advised, well, on my end it shows you are, and that the billing address you entered is not the address your bank has attached to the card. This must match, or they think it's fraud. Customer, it is right, they have my PO box and my physical. I advised he needs to enter his social address for billing. He was entering his PO box only, and it will finally go through and process. Rather than taking 5 seconds to do that and processing the order, he goes, "Can you just do it for me?" Me, annoyed as shit, advises him, I want to ensure you don't have this issue in the future when ordering online and want to show you how it works. Customer, I already tried it all week and all day today. Me, did you try it with your physical address and the billing on any of those attempts? Customer, no I didn't. Me, well that is why it wasn't working sir, if you will just take a moment to update it, it will finally go through. He continued to argue so I finally said, if you seriously don't want to, then I will try it on my end. He says okay. So instead of updating his address and placing the order in less than a minute, he now gets to take extra steps and sit on the phone longer. I know it's stupid to be irritated over but damn. I run into this all the time, and it's a very easy fix. So now I follow policy and take care of him. Little do they know he's gonna have to try again later himself so he can learn how to order online properly. I told him I needed him to find me the item numbers. I know how to explain where to find the item numbers, but chose to let him figure it out himself. He finds them after a couple minutes. I get his bag together and give him his total. He gives me his card information and boom, card gets declined. I advised him to contact his bank, then update his billing address as advised before, and it will go through. Mind you, I could have asked him for the correct billing zip code, and the order might have gone through, but *CK it. I tried to make it easy on him, but he wanted to try and be lazy, which backfired and ended up in more work for him. You called me for help, so next time, take my advice. If you made it to the end of the video, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe and share, and we will see you in the next video.